fear and fuck guilt? Or are you in that moment going to say, hey, I'm going to be defensive, I'm going to go on the offensive? AI will definitely tie in to this whole recession thing. Yo, today we're going to be shooting into the topic of what should you do in a recession, or what should you do in general when there is a slump. That might be your own personal productivity, maybe it's what you have going on in life, or it could be a market condition, right? Like the recession, or if you're in crypto and trading, the bear market. Now, today I'm in Hescock, the same place as we did the first video from last time, and I just wanted to show you a real visual metaphor of the topic that we're talking about today. Here we are in the exact same forest, just a couple months later. I think that video was shot in autumn, maybe sometime in October. And here we are in the middle of December. My phone's in my pocket, I can't show you the weather, but right now it's close to about 0 degrees. With the wind, feels... No, it's not 0 degrees. It's -3 today. And with the wind, feels like -5, -7. And I'm out here today to talk to you about a very important topic. So stick with me here, right? We're going to be talking about what should you do to prepare yourself for a recession. That's the broad level topic. But this video, I hope you're able to watch it anytime in the future when you feel like there's a slump, when you feel like the conditions around you have changed and now you have to adapt. Because that's really what it's about. If you remember in the previous video, even if you've not watched it, check it out at some point. In that video, we talked about the idea that you need to change the environment around you. That all creation, that's what it's about, right? It's also understanding the environment that you're in. Today, wow. Today, we're here in this very cold environment, sub-zero, right? Let's just assume it's -7 today. That's what I saw earlier in the morning before coming here. And it's a very different scene, right? Similarly, when we talk about recession, here's what's happening right now. We're at the end of the year. Twitter was acquired by Elon Musk a couple months ago. The reason I say that is because they laid off close to maybe 75% of their workforce, if the number is to be believed. And that also, around that was a lot of other layoffs by tech companies. And the reason that's significant is typically tech companies do have a lot more margins. So for a tech company to actually do layoffs, it's a big deal. Same with Google, same with a lot of Facebook, bigger companies. I'm sure you're aware of this. That's not something I want to go into today. But it's also very similar with Indian companies where you're seeing up to 10 to 40% of the workforce laid off. And it's only expected to get worse going into 2023. Now, when you hear that, what is your response? Does that make you anxious? Does that make you worried about the future? If you're somebody who's starting out in their career, does that make you feel like, hey, this is going to be tough? Now, all those things, I want you to just think about that for a sec, but all those are valid concerns. If you had been entering the market at a totally different time, it would be a very different scenario. But the core that I want you to understand today, the topic that we're going to be diving deep into, is what you can do to prepare yourself. And the general idea, before we talk about how to do that, is to understand what is this all about. Life is cyclical, right? Whether it comes to seasons like this, whether it comes to the market where you have bull market and bear market, or whether it's your own life, your own circumstances in life, right? There are ups and downs and it's cyclical and you might not always know what season you're in. Here, the season we're in is winter, and recession is also often called a winter. A tech winter is what we're getting into, right? Winter is coming. Where you want to be as a creator, as a designer, as somebody who wants to do big things, who wants to make outcomes happen in the world, is you need to prepare yourself. You need to be okay with what the environment is. If you're a business owner, let me just tell you straight up, recession is a meme. You cannot use that as an excuse to take your foot off of the gas pedal. In fact, at this point, you need to work even more harder for your customers, for your employees, for your business, and for yourself, right? Recession doesn't change anything for you. It makes it such that you have to get even tighter and way more focused with what you're doing. If you're an employee, however, what this does mean is pretty similar. You need to work harder. Now, that might seem like, oh, yeah, it's obvious. But it is not so obvious, right? When you're indoors, we don't really get to feel these seasons, right? Working as a designer is working on a screen at a computer, pretty much the same thing throughout the year. We're kind of shielded from sometimes the realities of the market, from the fact that it's seasonal like this. But the point I'm trying to make here is you need to be the maximum version of yourself, whether it is winter, whether it is summer, whether the conditions are good, whether the conditions are bad. The conditions and how the world is no excuse for you to not do the things that you want to do. All that means is that you have to prepare better. So what's the other difference between me here right now and the previous video that we did, right? Of course, the conditions around me are different, but you also see I'm a lot more prepared, right? I have on my hands gloves, right, that prevent my hands from freezing as I'm recording this. I've got all this gear that's on me. Now, of course, I could always be better prepared. For example, I did not expect so much snow here, and so my shoes are probably not the best for this scenario. But there is still a desired outcome for me. The reason that I'm actually here is to talk to you and share this message and record this video. That is something that's really important to me. So no matter what the conditions are, that is a commitment I have made with myself to do it. It is also a commitment I have made to you, because whether I acknowledge it on a daily basis or not, I have a lot of designers who follow me, who kind of look for general guidance as well as specific advice on how to deal with this difficult creative journey. And for me, it is very important that I am the maximum version of myself. But I want you to think about what that is for you as well. Let's talk some practical stuff at this point. What should you do to prepare? I hope I've shared with you the general mindset that the environment and how it is, whether the conditions are bad or good, harsh or comfortable, is no excuse to not do what you want. You need to be the maximum version of yourself doing the thing that it is you want to do. But very practically, talking about it right now, what are some things you can do to prepare for this season, right? It's a little obvious here what I need to do to prepare, right? I did not have to think too hard about it. I was like, I need to protect my surfaces, not let too much heat be lost. I need to protect my hands. I just bought these gloves before coming here. And in general, for recording this video, I had to, do my pretty much regular thing. Mic, camera, everything else. In your career, you need to think about, this is a time for prep. This is a time for really understanding how well am I prepared for the environment around me. And let me give you a very practical example of this. You, at this point, need to be auditing, right? It's also the end of the year. Within a couple of weeks, we're going to have the new year, new resolutions, new, let's just say new initiatives, a new energy to do stuff. However, December, and in general, whenever you feel like you're in a slump, is a great time to audit. Audit your life. Audit where are you spending the most amount of time. Audit in your career. Let's say you're talking about being a designer today. As a designer, where do you stand? Be honest with yourself. There is no reason at this point to not be honest. If I was not honest about the fact that it's cold outside, it's snowing, I could easily convince myself to not bring my gloves, not bring my hoodie, and be like, hey, last time I just wore one single hoodie, no jacket, and did it. Why can't I do the same? No, I need to be honest with myself and really understand what the conditions are. So, coming back to your career at this point, you need to think about my skills. Where am I right now? Where am I compared to where I was last year? Where am I compared to where I was a couple of months ago? Right? That is a very tangible measure of progress that you can have for yourself. Right? And really don't be afraid to look at it, is what I'm trying to say. This is the time to be honest. Right? You cannot ignore or just lie to yourself about this. Where are you in terms of your progress compared to the start of this year? Is it where you wanted to be? Were there shortcomings? What were they? The time that you spent, which is your input, does that correspond with the outputs you want to get, the outcomes you want to have, right? Are you spending your time towards the things that you want to achieve, right? These are very good questions to ask yourself and be very honest with. That is auditing your life, right? This is a great time to audit, because I see that a lot of us will get into that general meme of let's just do New Year resolutions. Yo, I'm gonna go to the gym. I want to be a designer. I want to start my YouTube channel. I want to actually start a business this year. I want to make money. You might have a lot of resolutions like this, but before you actually get to the execution, right? Executing on these resolutions, you need to do an audit of where you are right now, because all of us were in very different positions. For your skills, you need to look at, of course, compare to yourself a little while back, but also compare yourself to what you perceive is the current industry standard. If you're a designer, I'm sure there's a lot of designers whose work you look up to, people who are way ahead of you, but also people who are a couple of years ahead of you, people who you want to learn from, people who you kind of want to be like, who kind of inspire you to like, hey, he did that, she did that. I want to do something similar. I want to get those kinds of internships. I want to get those kind of jobs. I want to do these kind of projects. I want to have these kind of case studies in my portfolio. It's generally not a good idea comparing yourself to others, but in this case, be honest with yourself. Are you where you want to be? Are you prepared for this winter? And can be a difficult question to answer, but it's one that I really want you to think about, right? The next thing I want to talk to you about, okay, now that that is done, is that fuck fear and fuck guilt. There is no reason to be fearful. There is also no reason to feel guilty. What do I mean by that, right? I'm not generally trying to motivate you and trying to make you feel better about this. I'm genuinely telling you, there is nothing to be fearful of. When you should be fearful is when you are in an environment and you have not prepared for it. That maybe is a time to be fearful. But the more I think about it, I would say that's actually a time to be more alert and aware rather than fearful. Because fearful to me is a defensive state. When you're in an alien environment, you need to be alert. You need to a little bit be on the offensive, right? Here, I could slip on the snow right now, but I'm being very careful. I'm being very alert as I deliver this message to you. There is no reason to be fearful. Again, the world we live in is cyclical. You cannot be, it is not a good idea, let me just say it this way, to have a fear-based response to how the world is right now. A common question you might have as you clicked into this video and you were like, it's about recession. Is the recession going to go away? Does it get better from here? As we enter the new year, do we see a recovery? Great things to think about, but the point is, I don't have an answer for you, and nobody does. These are guesses at this point, right? But the one thing that you can do is prepare yourself for it. Be prepared for the worst. Even if things improve, at least you will be better off than being unprepared, right? There is no need to be fearful. There is also no reason to have guilt, which is, I know, right, from my own experience, right? I am not a stranger to these feelings. The only reason I can talk about this stuff is I have personally been through all of this stuff. Guilt, which is, I said I would do something, but I did not do it. And now I feel guilty for not having done it. Should not stop you from taking action. Guilt is you receiving feedback that you said you would do something, you committed to something, but you did not take it seriously. So now you feel bad. You have lost a little bit of confidence in your own abilities because you did not do what you said you would. Take that as an input that something went wrong, but do not let that stop you from trying again, right? The trap of guilt is that you did not do it, so then you start now believing at a subconscious level that maybe I can't do it. Maybe the problem is with me. Maybe this is not for me. Maybe I should aim a little lower. Maybe I should try to do the easier thing. Maybe. But maybe it also means you didn't fucking execute when you were supposed to execute. Maybe it means that the problem is you did not do the action. And maybe it doesn't mean anything negative about you. Honestly, you can do whatever you want to. You can do anything. But the problem is you can't do everything. And that's when it really comes down to being clear on what is it that you want. What is it that you want to achieve? Because yes, there is a lot happening in the world. There are a lot of new things that always want your attention. It wants you to participate in a lot of the stuff that's happening in the world. And you should do that, right? The world is a beautiful place. You should do things with other people. You should create experiences, but not at the cost of what you want to achieve. So no fear, no guilt. You did not do it. Okay. Say, I did not do it, but that does not mean I will not try again. Jump into it. Start over. Right? If you're a gamer, I'm going to take a little bit of a tangent here before we come back. If you're a gamer, you heard of this concept of latency, right? Latency is the time it takes when you click something, and you see that if you have bad internet, you have large latency, right? I hope I'm right about that. Roughly, that's how it works. But latency as a concept applies to you as well, which is, in this case, latency is you saying I will do something, the gap, the time that passes, and then you having done it. If you want the results fast, I'm sure all of us want that at some point. We have to constantly try to reduce the latency. When we say we want to do something, that we will do something. When we say there is a new skill I want to learn. When we say there are some assignments I want to complete because this helps me practice my skills. When we say that there are case studies that I want to work on, create, and put in my portfolio, whether it's projects that you want to do that help you test your skill, but also get this project out that people can see, engage with, and it's maybe something you can earn money from in a direct or indirect way. The latency between you saying I will do it and you actually executing needs to be low. Reduce that latency. What increases the latency? What causes you to not do things? Sometimes it's the environment, right? Honestly, I could totally be sidetracked right now, slip here, and, continue 10 minutes later, but I forgot what I was talking about, right? That is latency. When you're designing something, your college might get in the way. Maybe your job gets in the way. Maybe the thing you want to do right now, you do not have the entire day. Full time, you cannot work on it. But that's okay. That is totally okay, guys. That is totally fucking okay. sometimes you're going to get hit in the face with a snowball, right? Life is going to get at you, going to get in the way of what you want to do. What are you going to do when that happens? Are you going to stand there and take it in the face? Are you going to let the snowballs of life attack you? Or are you in that moment going to say, hey, I'm going to be defensive. I'm going to go on the offensive, right? I'm going to take action in general. I know we spend most of our time indoors. So do I. No shame or no judgment in that. But let's not forget that life is not a comfortable, cozy place, right? There are comfortable, cozy moments. But life is a journey that we have to really take action on. We cannot sit and watch life from the sidelines. This is a game that you are playing right now. You have chosen to play this game. You are not watching somebody else play. You might be watching me or listening to me this video right now as you're walking or you're doing something. But in general, you have to be active with the things you do, not passively be an observer in your own life. So, any other thoughts? So, for recession, I'll just tell you this. You want to get to a place, right? Here's the short version if you've stuck around this far. Recession is coming. It might get worse before it gets better. But you want to be in a position where it does not affect you, where you can work and continue working on your skills, continue working on the core substance of yourself, work on your skills, work on your projects, continue to improve the quality of your output, continue to connect with people who can help you in your own journey, but who can also become a part of your journey, right? Whether this is projects you do with other people, collaborations, whether it's a internship, whether it's a job, whether it's just starting a new business, starting a new project. Do it with other people. Do it with other people who are aligned on that outcome. But the market conditions, do not let the market conditions make you a passive viewer. This is the time to take action. This is not the time to curl up in a shell, right? Today, I could have just stayed at home. It's a Sunday. I did not have to be here. But there is a certain commitment I have made that I will follow through on, right? And it's not just because I am doing this for you. I am doing this for myself. I want to be the person who sticks to their word. I want to build a high degree of trust in my own abilities, my own capabilities. So when I say I want to do something, it is in my best interest to actually go and do it. Let's walk for a bit. Let's just walk. I want you to just check out the surroundings. We will show a couple more views. Define what outcome you want and do not let the meme of the recession stop you from doing it, right? If it is really a designer that you want to become a designer, go for it, right? Looking for excuses to not take action is not a good thing to do, right? An example of that would be, you might at this point be questioning, hey, maybe I should do something else, right? Maybe because of the recession, it's no longer a good idea to do the thing that I wanted. That's totally okay. Sometimes you adjust your paths. But be careful that you're not using that as an excuse to not take any action at all. If it is not a designer that you want to be, maybe it is a business that you want to start at this point. Maybe you're thinking and you're realizing that, hey, I wanted to be in control of my own income. And for that, maybe you're thinking, I want to start some kind of business that can make me money, something that I can sell, whether it's freelance services, maybe it's a product that I work on, maybe it's something else. That is totally okay as long as that's the thing you then want to take action towards. right? It is totally okay to change your mind and adjust to the surroundings, adjust to the conditions. But it is not okay to use that as an excuse to not take any action at all, to just curl up, drink a hot coffee, a hot chocolate, and watch Netflix. Nothing wrong with that, right? I'm probably going to do that at some point, maybe later today. But I hope you're getting the example that I'm trying to share. Coming out to a clearing here. Wow. Wow. I just want to take a second to appreciate this. I want to take a second to appreciate that I'm able to share this message with you. To appreciate that I'm here right now. To appreciate this beautiful snow, these beautiful visuals around me. I want to appreciate that I'm here right now, sharing this message from you, not from a simulation, in base reality, right now. And I hope you're able to tell the metaphors in this video, right? I hope you're able to spot that. It's very easy to be lost in the comparison of how it's not as green, luxurious, not luxurious, let's just say green and lush with the moss, the insects, right? How different it was last time. It's easy to feel like, oh my God, like this is miserable. It's cold right now. My face is a little bit numb at the moment. But it is a good idea to maintain the perspective of the positives, right? And of course, easier to do that when you're prepared. When you're prepared for what is coming. You do not want to be caught in this environment unprepared, right? It would be very brutal for you. But if you do have the choice, if you do have your individual will, that you can actually take action on the things that you want, why should you not be out here? Why should you be fearful of the conditions? Why should you be fearful of how things are? If there is something you want to do, go ahead and do it. Nothing is easy. It's not going to be easy, but it is going to be worth it. And I think that is what should matter. Anyways, guys, super excited to have the ability to be here. This is honestly really, really beautiful. I did not expect this much snow. I thought it would be a little bit more how it was last time, but it was just less leaves. Over the next couple of weeks, since this is the end of the year, I will try to also share a little bit about, let me just say, I will also try to little bit share about the new year, what you should do, right? But in the end, take it upon yourself, right? Again, the reason I share this is not because I think you need advice. The reason I share this is not because I think I know everything where the others don't, right? The only reason I share this is because I know from my own journey that sometimes you need a reminder, right? It's as simple as that. In the end, I know my own journey where I am. I have a long way to go. I know that there are things I want to do that I am very not prepared for, right? Things I want to do that are still out there for me that I will have to really take action on, right? And I'm sure it is the same for you, right? Nobody has it all figured out. However, you can be prepared. You can make it a habit of taking action rather than being passive in your own life. But yeah, as I said, the reason I talk about this, the reason I share this is because I know we all can need a reminder sometimes, right? It's easy to get lost in the immersion of things. It's so easy to be in the waves, just be swept away by what's happening in life. And that is very real. It's very, very right there. You're in that moment. But if you're familiar with the idea of the man in the arena, right? It is not the critic that matters. It's not the one who says this is good, that is bad, while sitting in an armchair. It is the man in the arena. It is you in your game, playing, working, taking action towards the things that you want, no matter what the conditions are. That is what matters. That is a reminder to you. That is a reminder to me. It's a reminder to all of us that as we end this beautiful year, challenging year, maybe tumultuous year, let's not forget to have our eyes on the prize. Oh, we didn't come to this area, right? Last time we ended the video in this area. Another thing I want to talk about, folks, is AI. Now, of course, I'm going to be making separate videos about this. And you know what? Let me head in that direction. I'm also going to be making other videos about this, right? About AI, what's happening. But in general, the same principle applies here, right? Your response to new things in the environment should not be fear, right? Whether that's the market conditions or if it's something new, a disruptive technology, that AI, that might change how you do things. Your response should not be fear. It should be curiosity, of course. Try to see how is it that I can use these tools. In the end, AI, it is a tool, right, that we use. In the same way that all these tools here have prepared me for this environment here to undertake this action, this task that I've set for myself. Use AI as a tool, right? The fear, it's an endless pit, right? You could keep getting into the spiral of fear, right? And there is more than enough, let's just say, movies about how, like Terminator, Skynet taking over, right? You could keep looping on that fear to no end. But the correct response is, I'm going to try to use these tools. Rather than an immediate fear-based response, I'm going to try to actually be curious. Again, make some time for it if this is something I want to do, right? Some of us are naturally early adopters. We try new stuff as soon as it's out. We're just like that. Some of us are more late adopters, right? We do it a little later. Once the hype has kind of died down and it's like, okay, I want to do it now. And neither is a bad place to be, right? That's just a personal preference. Maybe that's how we are. But AI will definitely tie in to this whole recession thing. Because if you've been using ChatGPT, one thing you will realize is it's not the smartest AI, right? It's not at the level of the smartest person you know, but it can definitely do the job or a lot of tasks of some of the dumber people that you know, right? It is really good at knowledge tasks, at cognitive tasks. It is also really good at creative tasks, right? It can do stuff like talking about just ChatGPT and Midjourney. It can do a lot of stuff that we did not even think would be possible by AI earlier this year. And I just want to let you know that we are kind of also in a soft AI takeoff. That's what's happening right now. Every single week, there are new demos, new technology, new versions of these AIs being released. And going into 2023, there's going to be a lot more of these. Let me give you a couple of examples. In just Q1 of this upcoming year of 2023, the first Apple AR headset or mixed reality headset goes into production. In Q1 this year, GPT-4 comes out, right? Which is going to be as big of a jump from GPT-3 as it was from GPT-2 to GPT-3. In addition, there are a lot of new devices coming out, right? Within AI, now that these tools are available to consumers, right, we can actually use this. A lot of us are going to be creating new tools with this, right? So expect to see this year continue in this trajectory, right? it's only gotten started. Now, some of these things will affect the market. Why? Because it's a disruptor. There is a chance that a lot of the interns, right, internship, the type of things you were doing in internship can now be done using ChatGPT and these other programs. It's not like the AI takes your job and is now doing the work. It's just that somebody else in that company or in that business or in that project can now do the work of 2 or 3 people. And so, whether you get that internship or not, whether the market condition changes it or not, you want to be that person who can do the work of 3 people, 4 people. And as it's getting better, yeah, you can do the work of 5 people, 10 people, right? The whole equation changes because what we thought was a static now becomes a variable, right? And there's going to be a lot of variables like this. So do not succumb to a fear-based response. Be curious, use these tools, right? In the end, if these tools are really that good, they're not going away. And even if they're not that good, there are dedicated teams of researchers, designers, and developers who are working on making this better. And so it's not typically a good idea to bet against the technology. Rather, you want to prepare yourself for that future that you think might come. And you want to see how can I live in that future before everybody else, right? This is a little bit of being an early adopter. There are definite benefits. There are also definite risks. But given the choice, I would always want to be an early adopter to assess this for myself and see how can I start using this technology and get used to it, get comfortable with it, build some level of proficiency with it before the rest of the world hears about it for the first time ever, right? So we have an advantage. Definitely would suggest taking action on it. Have fun in your holidays. Continue working towards the things that are important to you. And I will see you in another video. Bye-bye.